Hey YouTube, it's Dave here. Thank you for tuning in. Nice to be here. Very nice to see you. What I'm going to talk about today is the question, why is this happening? And now this comes up in a person's life when circumstances are happening that you don't like or you don't expect or are beyond your control or are just generally bring up a lot of stress and tension. And so when someone asks this question, and if you find yourself asking this question, why is this happening, or why is this happening to me, there's two things going on here. First is that the mind is looking for safety and security. That's it. And what happens invariably is people will label the situation in a way that gives them safety and security, even if it's very far from the truth, but it still gives that person a frame of reference to think and feel and act in relation to why they think it's happening, and provide some small sense of safety, even if you don't know what's going on. But this question usually comes from a place of lack of empowerment, lack of knowledge, helplessness, or even at its worst, a victim mentality. So just pay attention to when you're asking yourself that question, why is this happening, and see where it's coming from. It's usually one of those, 3 or 4 places. So with this question, then the mind comes up with a reason for why it thinks things are happening, and that then becomes all of the focus for a person's fear and negativity. And this is a really, really important concept to grasp. So now in case of the coronavirus, you've got people blaming Chinese people, other people are blaming the Americans, other people are blaming shadow governments, and everybody's pointing the finger at each other because they're scared. And that's natural and that's fine. But when you start to label things in a situation where there is fear, usually they are quite far from the truth. And if you actually start to label those situations in a way and repeat that in your mind over and over again to the point where you think that it's the actual truth, then that is where problems arise, because then you start to believe this is actually the truth of what's going on, instead of understanding that your mind is just looking for a focus to vent its fear and anger and hatred or whatever, right? So if you can find why and what you are labeling as to what's going on in situations that are out of control in your life, step back and recognize that is just a focus for your fear. It is not the actual truth. And if you can recognize what emotion you're feeling and what you're projecting out onto the focus of your fear, and just let that out into the universe instead of at an actual person, then you empower yourself. You don't let that fear control you. You don't let it take you over. This is an incredibly empowering place to be. And you can use that as a platform to move forward from a stronger place of faith and trust that everything is going to be okay, even if it's not what you want. Now, the second thing going on when you're asking the question, why is this happening, is there is usually a part of yourself that is not accepting that it actually is happening. There's a part of yourself that is still in denial and still resisting what is going on because of the fear of what you think is going to happen, the negative result that you're imagining in your head. So if a situation happens and you're asking yourself that question, why is this happening? The first thing to do is to pause and take a breath and accept that it actually is happening. This is a very, very important step to take, because when you label something based out of fear, it is usually farther from the truth. But when you are actually accepting that it is happening, it destroys the part of you that is in denial about what is going on. And really, if a part of you is still in denial about what is going on, how can you actually label what is going on as the truth? Think about that. It's a really, really empowering place to be. If you destroy your denial, you are far more closer to observing the truth from that place than if you are in denial. So pause, take a breath, accept this is happening, even if you don't like it, even if you have no control over it, but it gives you a stronger, more loving point of view to take action from moving forward. The truth is, we can really never, ever know why something happens. It's very unfortunate, and it really sucks sometimes, but really and truly, we can never know at the moment. The best we can do is label the situation in a way that makes sense to us, that provides a sense of safety and security for us, but also doesn't cause harm to self or others. That's usually the best that we can do in any situation that is highly stressful or fearful. And so the saying hindsight is 20/20 is actually quite true, because as you move into the future, far away from events, the more you grow, the more your perception changes, the more your wisdom changes, the more you diffuse the fear from the past, the more you can actually start to look at events of the past and label them in a completely different way than the way you think they were happening at the time of occurrence. And if you can do this, this is fantastic. And if you can't, it means you're still stuck and a part of you is still in denial about that, or holding on to some fear-based belief that you haven't identified yet. When situations come up and you're asking yourself, why is this happening? The best thing you can do, if you can, is first, accept it. 2, suspend all judgment and just say to yourself, I don't really know why this is happening. I may not know into the future, but for now, the best reason I can give myself is this, and then give yourself a reason that makes you feel safe and comfortable until circumstances change. So if you can do this, if you can look at situations and suspend judgment and come from a more neutral or uplifting or loving place, the stronger the platform you will have to really truly see what is going on and step forward into your future path from that. And that's it. Okay. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. If you like the video, hit the like button. And I write articles on my website that are more in depth than the videos I go on to here on YouTube. So if you're interested in more in depth reading about this topic, then please check out my website, and I'll put the link below. Thank you for watching.